You'd have to change the way that things have been done, and that is the fact that there's been no real negotiations. There have been a bill before the committee, which I sit the Help Committee, and it was done by Democrats, and no amendments were agreed to of any significance. And so it's not the kind of negotiations that I did with Senator Kennedy.
And if you remember, it was Ted Kennedy who worked early in the George W. Bush 43 administration to pass No Child Left Behind, worked hand in glove with the Bush White House and Republicans. He was vilified by some on the left, an apostasy, really, a heresy, that he had done so. And it's only gotten more partisan since then, Dylan.
We're going to leave it right there. I was talking earlier with some friends, and I asked who might emerge as the new Ted Kennedy in the United States Senate. You know, a lot of people think it might be someone else who sought the presidency, lost, and decided, you know what, my life's work will now be the Senate. And that could be Senator McCain, who is a very good friend, has been a very good friend of Senator Kennedy. We'll see if that becomes the passion that became the passion of Senator Kennedy after he lost to Jimmy Carter, that Democratic presidential nomination.
Well, it's a small point, and I think the larger point was that Richard Nixon in 1974, when he was in trouble, supported a national health care plan which included an employer mandate, far more dramatic than anything really being talked about today. And Kennedy rejected it. And the history of health care has been a rejection on the part of the liberals of opportunities to really move ahead. There was an opportunity with the Clintons, and they didn't move ahead with Jim Cooper and Dingell and the others and Moynihan.
More moderate.
People don't seem to want to compromise. And I think that the opportunity is going to emerge, and you and I know this as well in Savannah, and we know, covering this story, that there's going to come a moment in this debate in the next couple of weeks when someone's going to have to cut the diamond. Someone's going to have to make the critical decision, what can get done, what should get done in these circumstances economically, and then what commitments should be made for the future in terms of doing something again.
The problem is,
someone's got to make that decision.
We've got the problem on the right as well. If people in the middle cut a deal, to be practical, they get savaged by their base, and that may happen here.
But I was chairman of that employment subcommittee of the Labor and Human Resources, and he was the ranking member. And the CETA program was going to expire. And he and I knew that we had to have some replacement. And I put together an outline of a plan. I took it to him. He made some adjustments, some recommendations. We agreed upon a bill. It's called the Job Training Partnership Act. Yep. I had trouble with the Reagan administration. He had trouble with the Democrats. But we stayed together, and the bill passed the Senate, believe it or not, 94-0. Senators came up to both of us and said, well, look, if Quayle and Kennedy agree on this, there's not much room for disagreement.
David, Vice President Biden said that perhaps the senator's death will be a catalyst to push through health care reform. Do you see that as a possibility? And certainly that's something that some folks would not be comfortable with.
Anderson, as much as his friends would like to see it right now, I don't. I think that Senator Kennedy's presence was missed in the last few weeks. I think we would be much closer, as John McCain has said, to a bipartisan agreement had he been there to help negotiate that.
Is the Senate you came into in 1977 like the Senate you're in now?
Well, not at all. It's much more partisan. Of course, when I came into the Senate, there were 62 Democrats and only 38 Republicans, and about 14 of the 38 Republicans were pretty liberal. So the left really controlled the whole place, and I have to say, you just had to step lively the way they wanted you to as a conservative. But gradually over the years, it evolved into what really is quite partisan today. You had at least 12 conservatives that you could call conservatives on the Democratic side. We probably had about 12 liberals on our side, and it was much more balanced. Today, there's only one moderate, as I see it, real moderate, in the Democratic United States Senate, and on the Republican side, we've gone pretty conservative. We only have 2 liberals on the Republican side, as I can see it now, and naturally there's a lot more combatants than I'd like to see.